Yep. 7 on dot.
Right, okay, thank you very much. It's 7 o'clock and welcome to the Ealing Planning Committee on Wednesday, 12th of March, 2025. Right, okay. We have 2 items on the agenda tonight. Let me go through the agenda. So, any apologies for absence? I'll mention substitutions in a second. We've started, Councillor Ball, on time. Substitutions, we have Councillor Jassel for Councillor Iqbal. I don't know if there are any other substitutions. Nope. Right, thank you. Urgent matters. Not aware of any urgent matters. No one's indicating any urgent matters, so let's move on. Any declarations of interest? Nope. Right, let's move on. Matters to be considered private. I'm not aware of any. And no indications. Thank you. Right, minutes of the last meeting held on the 5th of February 2025. You've all read, and are those agreed, or are there any? Thank you. Site visit attendance. Now I'm going on what I've been told because I wasn't there. I was away the weekend, so I'm going to read the names out. If I've missed you or got you wrong, please let me know. So Councillor Martin, Councillor Khan, Councillor Mahmood, Councillor Kelly, Councillor Raza, Councillor Shaw, Councillor Rice, Councillor Douglas, Councillor Ball, and Councillor Kumar and Councillor Jassel were there on Saturday. Yep, okay. The rest were apologies. That's myself, Councillor Gordon. That's it, I think. Yeah. Right, okay. Establish the site visits. So let's go into the meat of the meeting. So planning application 65 Stirling Road. We don't have any speakers tonight. Joel, that's yours, I believe.
Imogen.
Oh, Imogen, sorry. I can't see you there, Imogen, sorry. Imogen, would you like to lead, please?
There we go. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, councillors. The proposal is for the construction of a 12-storey mixed-use building with 696 square metres of light industrial space and 49 homes with associated amenity space, cycle storage and refuse storage on 65 Stirling Road. The application site is located in South Acton, situated between Bollow Lane and Stirling Road. Located within the locally significant industrial master plan, co-location of light industrial and residential is permitted in some areas, predominantly in the south, highlighted in blue. The LSIS master plan has also outlined the building height limits, which is stated that the area highlighted in red can host a maximum height of 12 stories. Here is an image of the emerging context of the LSIS master plan, showing the consented developments and their ranging massing and heights. The site at present hosts an unoccupied 2-storey industrial building with an entrance on Stirling Road and no active frontage on Bollow Lane. The proposal would result in a reprovision of industrial space as well as providing active frontages and both entrances on Bollow Lane and Stirling Road. 49 homes are proposed, comprising of 17 affordable and 32 private homes. 35% proposed homes will be affordable, resulting in an affordable housing split of 60-40 by habitable room in favour of London affordable rent. The housing typology is predominantly in favour of family homes. 51% of proposed homes are 2-bedroom, 4-person or larger. 5 wheelchair homes are proposed, achieving 10% provision as set out by policy D7 of the London Plan. There we go. The building will feature an L-shaped design facing towards Bollow Lane with grey brickwork and grey metalwork panels referencing the site's industrial heritage and complementing the surrounding consented developments. Grey metalwork panels to the ground and first floor levels on both Bollow Lane and Stirling Road elevations will create a differentiation between the industrial and the residential elements of the building. The L-shaped design will result in a blank wall to the southeast elevation. This will ensure the developability of the adjoining site of 55 Stirling Road, encouraging further growth within the LSIS master plan. To mitigate against a blank wall with high visibility, the remaining wall will host painted host painted artwork, and this has been secured by condition. It is noted that the height of the building may result in visibility from ranging locations. The submitted view assessment has confirmed that the sightlines of the proposal will not impact heritage assets. The images shown here are from Gunnersbury Cemetery, Chiswick Back Common, Kew Green and Acton Park. All flats will benefit from outdoor amenity space, both private and communal, balconies ranging from 5 to 25 square metres. A total of 255 square metres of communal amenity space with integrated children's play space is proposed. The communal amenity space will be split up of 119 square metres to the second floor and 136 square metres to the 12th floor. It is acknowledged that the proposed children's play space provision does fall short of the GLA requirements. However, a financial contribution to balance this has been included in the heads of terms in the legal agreement. The amenity space will include soft and hard landscaping, as well as outdoor furniture to accommodate a variety of uses for residents. The children's play area will include wooden beams and stepping stones. The building will include a green roof as well as the community areas, achieving an urban greening factor of 0.4. A condition has been included requiring the submission of a biodiversity net gain plan. The application site is located within P-Tow area of 4 with exceptional public transport connections. The development will be predominantly car-free except for 2 blue badge parking spaces which will be provided to the north of the site on Stirling Road, in addition to the proposed loading bay for deliveries and servicing. Cycle storage for 88 long stay and 2 short stay bicycles will be proposed to be situated on the first and second floors with lift access. Residential refuse will be stored on the ground floor with access from both Stirling Road and Bollow Lane. The Council's energy consultant is satisfied with the energy strategy submitted. The scheme will deliver cuts in overall site-wide CO2 emissions by at least 68%, and the industrial element is expected to achieve an overall reduction of 38% in CO2. 14 solar panels will be installed to the remaining roof space that isn't allocated for amenity or plant. Here is a summary of the total provisions. And there will be an increase in the jobs created on site as well from the existing use. The recommendation is to grant, subject to conditions, the completion of a Section 106 legal agreement and Stage 2 referral to the Mayor of London. I'd also like to draw the committee's attention to the briefing note whereby the amount of industrial space has been corrected. An informative from Thames Water has been included and other clarifications on errors included in the committee report have been made. Thank you.
Imogen, thank you very much. Right, okay. Questions. I'm going to go to questions. As the committee know, we'll do questions first and then we'll go into debate. So I'm looking around the room and I'm not, this is almost like an auction. Councillor Ball.
Yeah, for the artwork on the side of the building, what's the process by which that will be selected? Is it something that you'll be talking with ward councillors perhaps, or trying to get something? Because I can, you can see it could be something that people love, or it could be something that's a bit of an eyesore, it's something on that scale. But how will it be determined?
That's kind of art for you, isn't it? Really? I no idea how it's going to be determined.
Doing them in groups.
We'll do them in groups, yeah. Well, at the moment, there's not a lot of groups. So, Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Chair. So, yes, we talked a bit about the play space there, and one thing that was alluded to, I think, during the site visit, is that there's not very much park area nearby. I mean, you talk about £14,000 in that region. Sounds to me like it might just be able to buy a little bit of playground equipment perhaps. So I'm just wondering just how far away is it acceptable to actually put something if it's intended for the young children of this development to actually use, because if they're going to have to travel a long way, it might not be that effective. And also, I was looking at the comments and the officer responses. Just with the GLA, there was just no officer response on there. They did seem to raise a lot of issues, and mentioning in particular the impact on the public transport network is being underestimated. So I think we get to that stage that maybe some of us talk about sometimes on the committee, is that when you've got these areas where an awful lot of housing is being put in one space, when is it that you reach that point that the transport network can't cope? I mean, we established at the last meeting for this area that you can't have a double-decker bus. You're just going to have these little small buses running. How much capacity can it really handle? So can we perhaps expand on there as to what thought has gone into that? And there's also very little from Transport for London on there, because we haven't got any officer response on that. So I'm just hoping everything is in order on there, because that's going to be quite important when it comes to construction. And on the TfL location services, there was something about constraints with the developing so close to London Underground infrastructure, and there's something about a condition. I can't actually find the condition, so I don't know if it's just me being daft, but I just wondered what that really involved, what impact it could have on that infrastructure. Thank you.
Okay, I'll take those. I think it's cranes. They fall over. That's about the nearest they'll get to transport infrastructure there. But I'll let the officers respond. So we've got Councillor Ball's art question, play space, acceptable distance, GLA response, read traffic, location service.
Yeah, so with regard to the artwork, I imagine that the developer will most likely hire or contract a local artist, or perhaps there could be a competition or something like that to represent the local area, you know, appropriately. That could be something that we can discuss further. But yeah, I do agree that it should be something that's appropriate and, you know, tasteful. But yeah, something that would kind of represent the local area tastefully would be quite nice. Also, it would be, I guess, temporary, because this is just a blank wall just to allow number 55 to be able to develop in time as well. So it wouldn't be a permanent thing. It could also be a changing thing that could happen every 6 months or a year or so, or however long it takes to develop. So there's that could happen as well. So it's not a permanent fixture.
I'll just add, before you answer any further, there's no reason why we wouldn't consult with the ward councillors if they want to obviously be involved in the discharge of the details of that artwork. In fact, that would be encouraged.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, just to add to that, I know there's some artwork on the ODPC, and they ran a local competition for it with local artists. So we may go down that road. Maybe we can take that away, come back with it at some point, maybe through the chair or whatever. Sorry, 3 other questions.
Yeah, thank you. So with regard to the children's space, I think the question was about the distance of the children's play space.
Yes, because there'll be the money being put into, I think it's the Section 106 money, so that how far away could we spend that 14 grand acceptably? Thank you.
Yeah, so the South Acton Elsis Master Plan has identified potential areas where open space could be implemented, and that was a key part of the development of that master plan, and it's been presented to committee on previous occasions as well. So there will be opportunities for in open space in the future to integrate children's play space into those open spaces as they come forward, and that the funding is basically a mechanism to help achieve that. I mean, when we're looking at contributions, the contribution for this scheme won't necessarily build a slide or something like that. But when you put all the schemes together in that area, that will develop quite a bit of funding that the council can use to go towards children's play space in the local area. But I mean, that will be as the South Acton Master Plan develops, that will become more clear as to where those funds can be spent. But we anticipate it will be quite close by. Can we continue?
I also just want to note that 44 square meters of children's play space will be on site on the second floor. This is for ages 0 to 4 years old as well. So the younger kids will be closer to home, and then the older kids will have provision off site as well.
In regard to your question on the slight disagreement between our transport officers and the GLA officers, we're talking about a couple of people here. We're not talking about significant amounts of a difference there. And the TfL usually uses that figure to calculate what contribution would go to bus service improvements. So we're talking about a couple of people's difference. It's a 49 unit scheme. It's not significant. So basically, it's a very slight disagreement. It's not major. And in terms of your final point, I'll refer you to condition 35 on that.
I think you meant 49 homes, by the way.
Sorry, Chair.
Have they answered your questions, Councillor Rice? Right, okay. Any further questions? Right, we'll move into debate then. Okay. Anyone indicating to speak on this? I see a severe lack of speakers. Councillor Martin, Councillor Ball, Councillor Raza.
Well, only to say that, as we all know that went on the site visit, we've been there several times now because there's quite a lot of linked developments taking place in that same area. What we saw on Saturday is very much in keeping what I think we've already approved. It would be bizarre to leave it undone when the rest of the area is being developed. So it feels like the right thing to do and an appropriate use of that space and fits in with the general plan for the area. So on that basis, I'm very minded to support it.
Councillor Ball.
Yeah, I had a couple of concerns on during the site visit, like one was about the kind of risk of it being kind of monolithic appearance of all these sites in the master plan, but that was addressed by the way in which they're differentiated in material and also in the kind of the pattern of I can't remember the proper planning term for how they stick out, but anyway,
projection.
Yeah. But yeah, and then yeah, there's another minor thing I raised. So yeah, I think yeah, taking into account how it fits in with the master plan, obviously good proportion of affordable, and you're still re-providing more industrial floor space. So yeah, I think on balance it's acceptable. Yeah.
Councillor Raza.
Councillor Martin has covered some of what I was going to say, but also the fact that we're getting more kind of spaces which will generate incomes and jobs and livelihoods, I think is really important, because we quite often have things coming to committee where we don't really take that into consideration. And I think currently we're in a situation where we do need more of that in the borough. So I think I'm welcome that part of it as well. And again, the fact that it would look very weird if we suddenly left this one as is, because all its neighbours have been built up in a similar sort of style. So I'm minded to approve it.
Thank you, Councillor Raza. Councillor Shaw.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Just, sort of agreeing with other members of the committee here. I think this is actually quite a straightforward decision, that we have quite a lot of controversial ones here, or things where there is a good debate. But this, we have the master plan for the area. It conforms with the master plan, and it looks sort of quite straightforward. So I'm happy to agree with this.
Councillor Kelly, then Councillor Mahmood, and then Councillor Kumar. Okay.
Yeah, very welcome application for the reasons of all the members of the committee have said. Even Councillor Ball says it's acceptable. That's his words. I mean, I was just sort of thinking about Councillor Rice's very good point about the adjustment between GLA and yourselves, and it occurred to me that if this application one wasn't right, then the rest of the stuff that we've done in Bollow Lane wouldn't be right either. So it's just a continuation of that. So let's say a couple of units really isn't a reason to not approve this. So I'll be minded to approve this application.
Councillor Mahmood.
Thank you, Chair. I echo what my colleagues are saying. It would be very beneficial for the local community as well, and the new community which are going to in there. Financial contribution towards offsite contribution is a greater step forward, and if you see the frontage there, they are opening from Bolo Line to Stirling Road. That's a good opportunity, and of a safety point of view as well. 17 affordable home. That's a very good way to do that in such a small type of development, and increasing employment from 15 to 36 is an achievement as well. So, and the main thing which I notice in that life, this is a 60-40 affordable tuner split in the favor of London affordable rent over shared ownership, which will be beneficial for the people's are low earner rather than high earner. So in order to see these things, I'm happy to support that application, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mahmood. Councillor Kumar.
Thank you. I want to say that the site visit was very useful for me. It really helped me understand, because it's quite a complex bed of area with all the building works. And I think what I liked was that the development or the storage across the road, it's all glass. It just gave a good feeling on the outlook. And I always look at the height and everything, but this is, 12 stories as compared to an adjoining development which had 14. This is, I found it quite acceptable and encouraging. And I think there's a good balance. So obviously what Councillor Mahmood has said about the London affordable rent and the shared ownership split is quite good. And I also like the idea of having the space for the young children upstairs as well. So it's quite contained, and the safety aspect is also covered. So the only thing I did question it on that day was the disabled. There are 5 disabled homes that will be, but only 2 disabled parking. But I did see that there were a lot of disabled bays marked around Stirling Road, but I've just read that it is possible to provide more. I'm just thinking that 2 against the 5, there may be a requirement for more space, but it says in your notes that it could be possible that more space will be provided. But it again, it's not going to really interfere a lot with other residential parking in that area. So might be minded to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kumar. Yeah, the value of site visits. And I learned at the weekend a lot of councils don't do site visits. So yeah, we are not unique, but we are kind of one of the ones that do go to a lot of site visits, and I think that's it always surprises some people that are on the committee. But I think this work started a long time ago with the master plan, and the reason the master plan's there is that developers and the committee can follow it, and that's hence why we don't have a lot of debate and controversy over this tonight. So I think that I'm hearing no dissent really around the room, so I'm going to go to the vote. All those in favour, please indicate. Just for clarity, all those against? Any abstentions? Right, thank you, that was unanimous. Okay, let's move on. Without further ado, to item 2 on the agenda tonight, which is the confirmation of the non-immediate borough-wide and immediate Article 4 directions to withdraw permitted development rights for changes of use for dwelling houses, Class 3 C3 to small HMOs to Class 4 use. Okay, who's leading on this?
I will lead on this item. So thank you for introducing it. Yes, so the item 2 on tonight's agenda is the report to request confirmation of 2 Article 4 directions, one for the non-immediate for the whole of the area in the London Borough of Ealing, with exception of the Perivale ward area and a part of the OPDC area. And then the second part is confirmation of the immediate Article 4 for the Perivale area. So as you will recall, the Planning Committee saw a recommendation in September, and at that committee it was agreed to make the Article 4 direction for both of these Article 4 directions. So following that confirmation and agreement that was made at that committee, the Article 4 was made on the 30th of October last year, and that effectively meant that the immediate Article 4 was in effect in place, but it still needed to be confirmed after a period of consultation. And that also meant that for the non-immediate Article 4 direction, that would be confirmed within a year. So effectively, that takes us up to the 14th of November 2025. So the reason for bringing this back is we've undertaken the consultation, which commenced on the 6th of November for until the 6th of December. That notified everyone across the borough of the 2 Article 4 directions. We initiated quite an extensive consultation in each of the wards. It was a dedicated site notice that was displayed in those wards. The appendix to tonight's committee report shows the locations, the selection, the sites were selected on their increased footfall. And in response to that consultation, we did receive responses. The vast number of responses we received 126 responses in total. The vast majority of those consultation responses were from the Perivale ward area. 117 of those, we were interpreting that they all support the Article 4 direction that has been made. And in addition to that, we received 9 requests from the North Greenford area, requesting that area be included as in the immediate Article 4 direction. So having considered all of those responses, we are not in the position to change our recommendation to committee. We don't consider that there's any new evidence that would alter the recommendation we would make to this committee to include North Greenford. It's also worth pointing out, as I've mentioned, that if we are proceeding following tonight's consideration of this report, the non-immediate Article 4 would be on track to come into place in November. So we're some way through that process. So essentially, that's a summary of where we've got to. I'm asking the committee to agree the recommendation to proceed to confirm both Article 4s. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to do the same thing here. If there's any questions from committee, please let me know. Councillor Kelly.
Welcome this report. I did read it, but I couldn't quite see where we can sort of how long it would be where we can measure the outcomes. You know, when would the next sort of report of the outcomes as we see it be? So we'll be looking at it in 18 months, a year's time. You measure the amounts of applications that have come in. Will that come to committee?
So effectively, if the committee required us to obviously report on what's actually happened as part of the process of the making the Article 4 and then following on from confirming the Article 4, then we could present that information back to Planning Committee as typical monitoring information. Anticipating that you might ask a little bit of a question around what's actually happened since since the Article 4 recommendation was taken in September. What we've had a look at is we've received the sort of normal number of larger HMO applications, but we have noticed that we have received more applications for smaller Article 4 directions, even though they're not all required. And that reason I say that, it wasn't just specifically applications for small HMOs in the Perivale ward. We're receiving a sort of across the borough, oddly, and we have seen a big number of lawful development certificates coming in for assessment to confirm that certain properties are already in HMO use. Now, I would say that that's constituting about 15 out of the sort of 40 or so that we've received in terms of applications since September. So I think in the grand scheme of things, it's quite low. And I would also report that a vast number of the lawful development certificates, half of them have been refused because of lack of evidence to confirm that. So I think that's quite an interesting first grab of stats at this stage, but it's not sort of, I think it's sort of fairly what we would expect to be happening at this stage. We are very keen to obviously keep the monitoring of what happens post decision, and in particular, planning is working quite closely with our colleagues in regulatory services, licensing teams, and in planning enforcement to look at this issue in a lot more detail. And as I mentioned in the September committee meeting, we expect some new guidance to come out of all of this work to essentially work towards what would be good practice and what works well. Now, we understand that there are concerns around the mismanagement of HMOs, and that's causing quite a lot of frustration and concern in the community. But equally so, there are some very good examples, and what we need to do is look at what works well and develop some good practice. One of the things that we've also seen as part of those kind of early discussions with prospective applicants, people have approached the planning department for advice, and we've explained that we need them to demonstrate in any planning application that they need to work well. And what we are seeing is that the applications are being accompanied by HMO management plans. So applicants are getting the message that they need to demonstrate that these uses are not going to be harmful in the locality. So hopefully we can develop that further, I think is the message here. So there'll be lots to report on, and we'll certainly want to sort of get that message across to everyone.
Yeah, and taking your point about reports, I think we discussed end of year reports, and perhaps we can take it into the May committee, because then we'll get the whole year's worth of stats in, and not just HMO, but how the committee's doing and how the service is doing overall. There are stats there, and we can use them, and we are doing a reasonable job as Ealing Planning Committee. So you wanted to come in? Just on that, because I think it's really important to make sure that the monitoring information is available. It's information that we can put together in a format that's useful. So in addition to the monitoring material that you already have access to for information in your wards, we will finesse a new Power BI report that will just be very specific to HMOs in your areas. So that will be the next thing that we develop. So you can have a look for yourselves and see what's going on. Thank you. Okay, any further questions on this? Councillor Rice.
Thank you, Chair. Just a kind of bit of a small bit of clarification. It's just on the point on the Human Rights Act. I think it's just the last couple of sentences that I'm just struggling there with. I mean, there's something about impact towards people of specific ages, genders or ethnicities of the future growth of HMOs. I mean, I don't know if that's supposed to be if the future growth of HMOs is restricted. I don't know if it's a small typo. Because the next few words are like mentioning the demographic makeup of the wards. I don't know if that sentence has been completed, because I don't actually understand what it's telling me. I'm just wondering if there's more to that sentence that's actually be quite interesting, because it's probably making a point about different different groups of people and how they might be affected in a certain way because of the HMOs, and why we're really going down this road. It'd be maybe, I don't know if there should be more on there than there's actually on that section. Thank you.
Just think well noted, and I will obviously make sure that that's corrected in future. Thank you.
Just a correction on the North Hanwell, it's not Greenford Road and Waters Road, it's Greenford Avenue. Just thought I'd throw that one in. Right, no more questions. Thank you. Right, anyone engage in debate on this? Councillor Mahmood, I know that you indicated beforehand, and it is close to your Perivale residents' hearts, as it is to quite a few wards at the moment, but Perivale seems to be the vanguard of this. Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, Chair. This is a really growing concern, especially in Perivale and across the borough. And when we, a couple of months ago, last year, when we passed the Article 4 immediate applicable in Perivale 4, the residents, Article 4 in Perivale, the residents were very happy. I think it gives us a more control more control for the development, so the new development. But it was a really in Perivale and the some part of the North Greenford, like Alex, you rightly said, either mismanagement of the HMO or not handling properly. So that is very growing concern in the residents, and I'm sure it will give us a more control in the new development. So I think residents will be very happy, and I think we should go for that immediate Article 4 implementation and non-immediate as well, Chair. So we will support that.
Thank you, Councillor Mahmood. Councillor Ball, you indicated.
Yeah, I mean, without rehearsing everything that was said at the previous opportunity, yeah, HMOs provide a useful part of the housing mix for some people. However, we're aware of a lot of the problems that can be caused. So I think it's absolutely right that that they don't have the owners don't have an automatic right to convert. That it has to be considered properly, as H Actions said. You know, with the opportunity for management plans to be scrutinised by officers to see whether there is harm to be caused. So yeah, so this is you know, very welcome. And also, I think it's worth saying the people have spoken, and 126 responses in favour, 0 against. That says something, doesn't it, about what our residents want? So yeah, I'm very much minded to vote for it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not comparable to any other public consultation that I've ever known on this committee. Yes, and just to make it completely crystal clear, this is not a ban on HMOs. This is to regulate HMOs, the ones that were slipping through the net, the 6 and unders particularly. So this is not a war against HMOs. There are good HMOs, there are bad HMOs out there. This is about regulation. So just so the committee know that before they vote on this, because I'm going to go to the vote unless someone else is indicating. No, do you want to take your mic off? Okay, all those in favour, please show. Just for clarity, all those against? Any abstentions? Right, that's unanimous as well. Okay. Okay, next planning committee is April 23rd. Councillor Martin will be chairing that. Just so the committee are aware, we are looking at potentially on site visits, going back to some of the build outs to see what they've been like, so we can get the other end of our decisions. So I don't want to prolong the site visits, but if we go to one potentially and we pick one maybe near to Ealing Broadway, so if you don't want to go, it's fine, you can get off the bus and go home. But at the moment we're going through that phase. I think that's a good thing to do, so you can get vision on what you've actually decisions you've made. Yeah, and also, sorry, just there's a training at the end of the month which I would encourage you all to come to. It's an outside body called Planning Advisory Service that are coming in to do some mock application, and we're all supposed to partake, even me. Right. Please do your best to get to it and encourage the others in your party that are not here to come along as well, that are on the planning committee. I can't really extend it to the wider group of councillors because it's just too many people in the room at one time. It wouldn't work if there's too many. But you know, a good, healthy, big body of planning committee members would be very helpful. Thank you very much.
I was just going to say you'll have homework as well. Be sent round. It's already been sent round.
You're getting well, it's been sent round.
Yeah, that's what
homework. It's what you all need, isn't it? Homework. Right, Councillor Kumar. Your hand was up. Put it down. Otherwise, you've just bought an old painting. Right. Thank you very much, everyone.